A beautiful weekend coming up for the most part on temperatures. We'll talk more about that coming up here in just a little bit. It is Friday, the end of the first full week of June 2024 is in the books, and on this late spring day, things are going to be looking again very much on the quiet side for Saturday. As we get into Sunday, there's going to be the potential of some more problems for outdoor activities. We'll talk more about that in just a little bit. If you've never been here before, welcome to our video weather blog. This is Weather Overtime. Great opportunity to learn more about what's going on with the forecast and being able to ask questions instead of just watching a 2 to 3 minute weathercast. We try to bring you as much weather information as we can without going overboard. If you're just tuning in for the first time on Twitch, this is not your typical Twitch webcast. We don't do a lot of just chatting. We don't do a lot of gaming. We don't do anything in the way of learning how to tap dance or cooking or anything like that. Weather is what we do here. It's one of my passions, always has been, and talking about what's going on with the weather in order to help you out, especially if you live around this area. If you'd like to know more about our forecast information and more details as to what goes on here, website at the bottom of your screen, wdef.com/weather. We're also simulnetcasting on our station's YouTube page, so you can get there for more. Find WDEF News 12 on YouTube. Search in the bar there. We'll also be posting a replay of this on to my YouTube page a little bit later on, so you should be able to find things there. Should have a good view of the Chinese space station flying overhead here in just shy of about half an hour. We'll talk about that coming up here in just a little bit. Going to go ahead and wrap things up pretty quickly tonight because there really isn't a lot going on, so we won't be on the air for all that long for this evening. Very close to where we should be on the high and low temperature on the almanac. 87 the high, 86 the normal, 66 the normal low. Low temperature back in the lower 70s. Record high that hasn't been broken since 1933, and a record low of 49 that hasn't been broken since the 19th century. So that's been a day or two ago on that. Beautiful conditions out across the area. We've got that crescent moon just hanging in the western skies, and in just a little bit we should be looking at the Chinese space station to be flying from the west to the north and to the east, and there shouldn't be that much of a problem where it comes to excuse me, anything going on in the way of cloud cover or fog for tonight. So definitely some good news on that. But we will be seeing the Chinese space station at about 10:20 or so, right over toward that particular area and moving across the sky. If you have a good view of the northern sky right off of this area going panning back to the north, that is where you want to watch, because the Chinese space station will be going just beneath or right around the North Star. So it should be a good opportunity to be able to see that for tonight. We'll bring you a graphic on that coming up here in just a little bit. Plainview outdoor advertising camera, switching to our Patriot concrete camera again with that crescent moon, brand new crescent moon over the slopes of Raccoon Mountain. Lookout Mountain, you can just see the slope there with Ruby Falls showing up and some very bright stars off into the distance. We had some pretty good traffic backups earlier on the Tomahawk crane and rigging camera. Everything is moving along. Got heavy traffic for Friday night. 7524 is moving along very nicely at this time. A lot of folks out and about at the Speedy's Total Car Care camera. I think there's something to do with a festival coming up this weekend down at Coolidge Park, right underneath the footbridge. A lot of the Porta-Johns out there and the Tennessee River flowing on through. Lookouts not at home tonight, and they did not do too well over in Huntsville. They'll be back coming up on Tuesday. So looking forward to their return there. But a beautiful night on the North Shore and looking across toward downtown. Speaking of which, in the downtown area from the Bailey's Heating and Air camera, Old Glory, and looking back toward that area of the North Shore off in the distance, showing again a beautiful night, so no problem at all. Shirt sleeve weather out there, and going to continue to see some very nice conditions through the rest of what's left of this evening. So if you have any plans for getting outdoors in the next hour or 2 or 3, you should be okay. Just not going to need anything in the way of the umbrella for tonight. So good news on that. And a view of the crescent moon from the Chattanooga Zoo Ice Cream Safari web camera. Beautiful view tonight, looking back to the northwest, looking back toward the area of Erlanger Hospital. And again, right around this area is where we should see the Chinese space station moving through in about another 15 to 20 minutes. Beautiful conditions. Again, temperatures back in the lower 70s. Continuing again to see less in the way of problems for Saturday. We'll show you the forecast coming up here in just a little bit. But let's go ahead and get to the meat and potatoes of everything. Taking a look at the maps, our cold front has rolled through, and we'll continue to see that front. You can just barely see it out of the corner of the screen here, making its way down toward the south and to the east and escorting all of that very tropical rich moisture air off toward the area around the east coast of the United States. High pressure doing a good job of keeping things nice and dry and quiet here, but this is going to start working against us as high pressure moves east and southeast. The rotation of this, again, air in the northern hemisphere around high pressure rotates clockwise, so this will be dropping down to the south and giving us again the potential of some very nice conditions for Saturday. But then on Sunday, that moisture returns, these next storm systems roll into that, and that is where we get the potential of some more thunderstorms coming up, especially on Sunday. Now, the good news, what there is of it, is that the rain is not going to be very widespread, so very good news on that. So I think you can get outdoor stuff done on Sunday and into next week. It's just you're going to have to be kind of picky and choosy as to where you see the opportunities between the showers and the thunderstorms. The other bit of good news is that we are not seeing anything in the way of severe weather, so that is very good to talk about. But let's show you what goes on as this area of high pressure scoots down to the southeast. Again, dry air at first, but then we get into Saturday afternoon. The clouds start circulating back with that moisture off the Gulf, and then the next storm system arrives, just enough moisture for showers and thunderstorms into around Sunday morning back to our west. Gonna have to watch those just to be on the safe side, and then stray showers and thunderstorms going to be going on as long as that front continues to drop its way through portions of the area. Now, through about early Monday morning, heading back to work, we're going to be seeing the potential for more possible problems for now. And again, we continue to see the potential for more of those showers and thunderstorms coming on through into around the rest of the week. Basically, it's not going to be a lot. It is going to be a potential of some. High pressure will give us a bit of a break coming up around Tuesday. That might drop the chances of rain. I think we'll still see some potential showers, maybe a thunderstorm, but this does not appear to be set up to be, again, a major problem for the time being. So definitely some good news on that. Now, the heat from out west, I want to address this really quickly. We're still seeing a lot of heat advisories from New Mexico and Texas through Nevada and back up into California. We're going to be seeing the potential of that warmer weather getting a little bit closer to us in the next several days. So what we're going to be looking for, short to medium range forecast, last couple days from the Climate Prediction Center was showing a lack of heat going on. Matter of fact, we were aiming to just about normal for the most part. Now, we're starting to see that heat from the west lean a little farther toward the midsection of the country and over toward the east. That is where we're going to be seeing the temperatures, especially by the end of next week. So Flag Day and into next weekend, that is where we see that potential of showers and thunderstorms leaving for a period of time, and then the temperatures start to rise. We'll take a look at the 7-day forecast in just a little bit. And the good news at this time is it definitely is not as bad as it could be from everything we're seeing out west. Now, that being said, this was a record-shattering day all the way over into the other side of the planet. Looking at Aswan, Egypt, down on the Nile in the southeastern part of the country. The temperature a little while ago was 98. The low temperature in Aswan tonight is expected to be 90. The temperature today in Aswan, Egypt, it was an all-time record high for Egypt. And as an added bonus, this was the all-time hottest June temperature in the continent of Africa. This is very worrisome because these records around the world, Mexico into the Philippines, Africa, into portions of the Arctic and the Antarctic, we continue to see record highs set all over. And this is worrisome because, again, this is something that we need to pay attention to where it comes to making certain our planet is healthy. And the more we do in the way of traveling around with fossil fuels and causing more problems, the worse things are going to get because of all the heat that's being trapped down because of the greenhouse effect, which our fossil fuel exhaust is helping to worsen. So tomorrow, or today, if you're watching it on Saturday, is World Oceans Day, a day for humans to take a look at what we're doing to the oceans and how we can make things better. If you'd like to know more from the United Nations and the United Nations Environment Program, all you have to do is go to their website at unworldoceansday.org. Great opportunity to learn more about what is happening and why, and most importantly, what we can do to fix things. That's going to be one of the best things we could possibly do. All right, let's go back over. Excuse me a second while I transfer back. See what we can see on Island Cove. The moon should just about be down right there. Looks like we need to do an autofocus, but I'm not going to do it while I'm talking here because that's going to mess the camera view up. So for our 7-day forecast, lots of folks out and about on the waters of Lake Chickamauga. Beautiful for tonight. We're seeing for World Oceans Day, temperatures will again be on the toasty side. It's not going to be, again, anything in the way of major league amounts of heat. So far, again, that's the good news. But over the next several days, it does look like we are going to be able to see the potential for some more problems out there where the heat is concerned, and going to continue again to see the potential for numbers staying on the hot side, especially as we get into next week. We see that potential out there of numbers going back into the 90s. And that is where we start to see the temperatures stick around that particular area. So that could be what we see coming up next. We also see those chances of showers and thunderstorms taking place all the way through the rest of next week as we go toward Flag Day on Friday of next week. Don't forget to display your flags properly. Learn about the United States flag code to make certain you are displaying them properly, what the do's and don'ts are of flying flags. And again, maybe seeing some, if you've never seen that before as a Boy Scout, that's one of the things you learn about more than anything else. Apologies, it looks like the autofocus kicked in without my help there, so we'll get back to a good picture here in just a second or two. There we go, settling down. Again, for Flag Day, you're not supposed to be displaying your flag anytime it rains, so keep it indoors when that happens. Bring it back out after the rain is gone and the sun is back. And find some shade, because into next weekend, the midpoint of June, I think we're going to be seeing some very, very warm numbers. I don't think we're going to see anything record-breaking like they've seen out in the American Southwest, but I do think it is going to be pretty well uncomfortable as we go into the course of the next several days and weeks. So please keep it tuned to News 12, and we'll keep you advised as to that potential out there for right now. All right, let's thank one of our own here at News 12 for our weather picture of the day. News 12 production department extraordinaire Great bunch of people to work with here behind the scenes, pushing the buttons, running the cameras, getting the microphones ready to go. And News 12 newscast director and production department employee Rainey Randolph, thank you very much for a view of the moon peeking through the clouds at UTC's Jim Frost Stadium. Dry night and a beautiful view there. That's our Langley Roofing weather window picture of the day. Got pictures? Email them to us. Drop them to our website, wdef.com/photos, or drop them to our social media pages. And again, give us a description and or location to make certain we don't have to make anything up to tell people about what's going on, what you may or may not have seen out there. So give us a buzz on that. And thanks to everybody for some great pictures. All right, coming up in just a few minutes, the Chinese space station rising in the west and heading toward the northeast. And again, it should be going right past the North Star, but both the North Star and tonight's passage of Tiangong 1 will be a little bit less bright than what we saw last night. So we do have the potential to see it, but away from city lights and sky shine will be your best bet to see this particular pass. I doubt I'm going to be able to see it here in the News 12 viewing area downtown on Broad Street from the News 12 studios because of all the sky shine and the light pollution out there. So doubtful we're going to be able to see anything, but we might. Hopefully I'll get this finished here so we can get out there and take a look at it coming up in just a little bit. All right, today's friendinroofing.com weather poll question of the day. Can I have a tropical storm named for me? Can you make the request of the World Meteorological Organization that makes the lists that come up every 5 years that have the hurricane name lists already picked out? If you'd like to see that, you can get there through the National Hurricane Center, but the answer is, of course, no. Well, technically, yes, you can make the request, but no, they do not make any special dispensation for a name request, anything like that. If you're lucky enough to have a name that's already been picked, you could have one on there. As far as I remember, the last time there was a Hurricane Austen, and it was spelled with an I instead of an E, so it's difficult to say whether or not they'll have another Austen anytime soon. Andrew has been retired. Andrew Harrison, a news anchor here, my co-anchor, he's already had his namesake retired. News 12's K Blevins, I don't think there's been a Hurricane K in at least about 5 to 10 years. I could be wrong on that. But once again, if you'd like to vote on our polls, new one goes up at midnight, so you can find out more by going to our friendinroofing.com weather poll question of the day. There's sports questions, there's news questions, there's all sorts of things out there for you to give us your opinion on. And of course, if you'd like a listing of just about anything out there with what's happening that I've been talking about for tonight, please drop by my social media pages. Be glad to see what you're seeing, get in contact with us, find out more about what is happening. So stay tuned for more with News 12 via our social media channels. If you're on lichess.org or chess.com, you can find me on there. My ID on both those sites is my ham radio license, KG4GKE. If you'd like to stop by and have a game of chess, I'm no grandmaster, but I do enjoy playing the game, so it would be nice to see you on there. So stop by and maybe we'll have a game on a nice quiet weekend of some sort. Think that should do it. I'm going to get this done so I can get outside in about 10 minutes and see if the Chinese space station is visible for tonight. Again, temperatures on the rise in the next several hours to the next couple of days, looking at some very warm conditions out there. If you want to find out more about our website, details out there, wdef.com/weather. You can watch Weather Overtime live on my Twitch and News 12's YouTube channel. You can find me again on any of these social media pages except Facebook. I'm still barred on there because somebody tried to hack my account, and now Facebook won't let me back on, even with all of the ID that I provide them with. So may not be back on Facebook, depending on what happens there. So for right now, I'm Chief Meteorologist Austen Onek. We'll have more on your forecast Saturday and Sunday with News 12 meteorologist Todd Heislip, so stay tuned for that. As always, through the weekend, you can find out more at our website, wdef.com/weather. My email address, aonek@wdef.com, if you'd like to get in contact there. Live and direct on Friday, June 7th. I'm Chief Meteorologist Austen Onek. Stay tuned for more with News 12 through the weekend, on air and online. Please have a safe weekend. Let's be careful out there. And I'll see you again coming up on Monday night for Weather Overtime yet again. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again on Monday.